The backstage area buzzed with tension and quiet chaos, a mixture of anticipation, nervous energy, and the soft shuffle of performers and stagehands moving hurriedly between lights, props, and cameras. The Filipino teen, 15 years old, stood near the edge of the corridor leading to the stage, his small frame perfectly clad in a crisp, white Elvis-style suit adorned with delicate gold trim. His short, neat black hair shimmered under the soft backstage lights, and a silver microphone pendant around his neck glinted faintly as he moved slightly, adjusting it with a trembling hand. Every step, every breath felt magnified in his own consciousness, yet outwardly he maintained the posture of someone far older, carrying an unspoken weight of expectation. He had dreamed of this moment for years, yet now that it was finally here, he could feel the pulse of his own nerves rushing through him like a river, both threatening and propelling him forward. Around him, other contestants whispered and checked their positions, the muffled thrum of the live audience bleeding in from behind the heavy curtains, creating a strange mixture of intimacy and grandeur. His mother stood quietly a few feet behind, her hand resting gently on his shoulder. Her touch was warm, grounding, a silent communication that she believed in him more than he believed in himself at that very moment. The teen's eyes, wide and dark, reflected a universe of emotions: fear, hope, excitement, and the overwhelming desire to prove that he belonged here, not just as a contestant, but as a performer who could leave the world breathless. He closed his eyes for a fraction of a second, drawing in a slow, deliberate breath, trying to channel every ounce of the countless hours he had spent singing in front of empty rooms, practicing the subtleties of inflection, the tremble in his voice that could evoke tears, and the charisma of a performer whose heart could fill a theater. His fingers wrapped around the microphone pendant, feeling the cold metal grounding him in reality even as his imagination painted the stage in vivid detail, the spotlights glaring down, the sea of expectant faces in the audience, the giant judges' table looming like a monolith, and Simon Cowell's famously skeptical gaze cutting across it all. The hum of equipment, the whispered encouragements of assistants, and the quiet prayers murmured by other performers became a symphony in the background, a backdrop to his internal preparation, each sound amplifying the weight of this once-in-a-lifetime moment. He let the quiet flood of anxiety pass through him like a tide, refusing to let it overwhelm him, and with one final nod to his mother, he stepped forward. His shoes clicked softly against the polished floor, the rhythm in tune with his heartbeat, steadying him, marking the passage from preparation to performance. The curtains began to part, and he moved closer to the threshold, taking one last, deep breath, feeling every fiber of his being align for the performance about to unfold. This was no longer a rehearsal, this was his moment, and the world was waiting. The stage exploded into brilliance as the teen stepped into the spotlight, a transformation occurring instantly between the backstage nervous boy and the commanding presence of a performer ready to channel a legend. The audience, a sea of faces illuminated by the soft glare of theater lights, fell silent, sensing that something extraordinary was about to happen. The first notes of Elvis' iconic song drifted through the speakers, and the teen's voice followed, rich, soulful, and powerful beyond what anyone expected from someone so young. The sound filled the theater like a tidal wave, a mixture of technical precision and raw emotion that made every listener's heart tremble. His posture was impeccable, yet fluid, moving with the confidence of someone who had internalized the music so completely that it flowed through him as if it were a living extension of his body. Each note hit with clarity and emotional depth, carrying a resonance that reverberated through the wood of the stage, the walls of the theater, and into the very hearts of everyone present. Simon Cowell's eyes widened almost imperceptibly, his expression shifting from skepticism to stunned admiration. Sofia Vergara's hands went instinctively to her chest, Heidi Klum's lips parted in awe, and Howie Mandel's jaw slackened slightly, the familiar sight of their reactions a mixture of disbelief, excitement, and emotional vulnerability. The teen's eyes scanned the audience, catching glimpses of faces caught between shock and admiration, some tearing up, some standing, some clapping softly in rhythm with the music, all drawn in by the spell he had cast with his voice. Every movement, from the sweep of his hand to the subtle tilt of his head, seemed choreographed by instinct, an elegant, unstudied magnetism that commanded attention without effort. The camera caught the sweat glistening on his forehead and the glimmer of emotion in his expressive brown eyes, the quiet tremor in his lips hinting at the intensity of feeling he poured into every line. He was not merely singing, he was living every word, inhabiting Elvis' persona while simultaneously imprinting his own youthful essence into the performance. The notes climbed higher, the music swelled, and the theater became a vessel for something larger than the individual. and experience. A moment suspended in time where the power of music and the brilliance of a young Filipino teen fused to create magic. Audience members were on the edge of their seats, some mouths open in awe, some quietly sobbing, and the judges' reactions became a mirror of the collective astonishment. Simon's eyebrows shot up further as he leaned forward, eyes glued to the performer, seemingly trying to reconcile the boy's tender age with the monumental talent before him. The air was electric, a tangible vibration that could be felt in the chest, the kind of energy that turns moments into memories and performances into legends. The teen's voice, unwavering and emotionally charged, carried every word with sincerity, every gesture with authenticity, and every pause with intention. By the final crescendo, the audience was collectively holding its breath, caught in the spell of a performance that felt both intimate and epic, a paradox that only true artistry can achieve. The last note lingered in the theater, a crystalline echo that seemed to suspend time itself. There was a heartbeat of silence, fragile and expectant, before the room erupted into wild applause, cheers, and shouts of admiration. The teen stood frozen for a fraction of a second, eyes wide, chest heaving, as the weight of what had just happened sank in. Then Simon Cowell, with a mix of shock, joy, and undeniable emotion, stepped forward and pressed the golden buzzer. Confetti exploded around the stage, raining down in a glittering cascade that caught the theater lights and seemed almost magical in its timing. The teen's hands flew to his face, covering his mouth in utter disbelief, his knees threatening to buckle from the overwhelming surge of emotion. His mother sprinted onto the stage, tears streaming freely, embracing him tightly, her own sobs mixing with the thunderous applause of the audience. Sophia, Heidi and Howie joined in the standing ovation, faces glowing with admiration, pride, and the genuine joy of witnessing a talent that defied expectation. Cameras captured every detail, the stunned expression of the teen, the glittering confetti caught midair, the cascading lights, and the roaring, cheering audience, all combining into a visual symphony that perfectly matched the emotional resonance of the moment. The teen's eyes shimmered with tears, his body trembling with a mixture of exhaustion, exhilaration, and disbelief. Every person in that theater, from audience members to judges, from stagehands to fellow contestants, felt the profound impact of witnessing something extraordinary. A young Filipino boy channeling the spirit of Elvis, delivering a performance that transcended age, geography, and expectation, leaving an indelible mark on everyone present. In that golden, confetti-filled moment, it was clear that the teen had not only performed, he had inspired, moved, and forever etched his voice into the memory of the audience, a triumph of talent, courage, and heart.